Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. This is your boy Malcolm coming to you live from. Ashed on my MIDI right there. Try not to ash on the Akai Professional. I know some. I know some guys out there. They'll pitch a whole fit about you ashing on their MIDI controller. So, thankfully, it's mine. I don't. I don't have to worry about getting yelled at. I can yell at myself later. So, tonight, we're going to be going over some news that just recently came out. Let me see if I can get these. I'm trying to get my comments pulled up. I noticed on StreamYard, not every platform that you stream to gives you your comments. So there are times where people will be commenting and I don't see the comment. Let me go ahead and pull this up. So recently, a few days ago, Trump made some comments about Epstein. And just to remind everyone, going into this, Trump and a lot of his cabinet were making promises about the Epstein files, the JFK files, and the MLK files. The reason why stuff like this is important is because for a long time they campaigned on this promise that they were going to, reassure trust in government and stuff like that. But the news that came out was something different. Um, I'll put it to you like that. The news was different, and there are a lot of Republicans that are mad, especially from the MAGA. Republicans are mad, and rightfully so, because this isn't the first time the government has promised us something and they didn't deliver. Load some more. I still can't get my comment section to load. I don't know what the hell's wrong. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. Just like use my phone. Okay. Okay, and comments are good. Comment sections up and running. All right, guys, let's get into this video. But to what I was saying earlier, yeah, the Epstein files matter. If you promise to deliver these files to us, and then months later you say, "Oh, well, there's no files, there's no um, client list, there's no this or that." Listen, there are at least 2 or 3 documentaries on the Epstein case, and in all of those documentaries, they completely stress the fact that there were multiple cameras on his properties. Um, what was let me see what else we got here. Mhm. Man, I'm trying to do too much at one time. But yeah, the government came in and promised us to release these files, and now they're backtracking, saying that there weren't no files to say or anything of or any significant evidence for that say to see who was on the island and all that stuff. Let's hear it from Trump.
Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the latest day?
Yeah, sure. If I
Pam,
could,
could I just interrupt for
Sure.
a second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an
Okay. So, and I probably should have stopped it earlier. I know the guidelines and stuff like that for these copyright strikes. Links down below to the actual video if you guys want to go ahead and watch it by yourself. But, okay. What Trump just did was like complete deflection. What he was doing was a complete deflection. He campaigned on releasing the Epstein, the JFK, and the MLK files. Now he's like, you guys are still. Now, granted, I'll give him his leeway. There's the whole disaster in Texas going on. The bill just passed, so I'm pretty sure he's trying to get that going. Everything that's going on with ICE and deporting the illegal immigrants. There's a lot going on. But you were the one that campaigned on this. And for her, I forget this lady's name, but do you really expect us to believe he was downloading explicit child content? Really? This man had cameras all over his, again, there are 2 to 3 documentaries on the Epstein case. In all the documentaries, they speak to the fact that he had cameras. He had a list of contacts, multiple visitors that came to see him on the island. I forgot the prince, but one of the British princes was photographed with him and one of the victims of this alleged explicit child trafficking ring. I don't know if YouTube's going to flag me for saying that, but I just got to say it straight. You're in the middle with Malcolm, and we're going to keep it straight with you guys. But yeah, all that about download it. No. Why he got to download it for? He's literally making it in his home. Let's be real. Let's be real, people. He had underage girls all in his property, all throughout his house, all on the island. He was not downloading anything. If there was any YouTube, this stuff is going on YouTube. If there was any corn, you can replace, you guys know corn. You can replace the first letter with something else. You know what I'm talking about. He was not downloading corn. He was probably making it, if anything, especially with all them cameras. But yeah, let us finish.
An agent. I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
All right. Now, to elaborate on
and tightly guarded. But earlier this year, I spearheaded a wide
pause. I'm not saying pause, just it's like I was thinking that to my computer, so I just said pause. But all right. Now, yeah, y'all reading? We tracked every visitor to Epstein Island. Now, before I just, because this can be a little disjointing or disjointing, however you want to say it. They were just saying how they didn't have really anything other than downloaded corn on, that's all they found on Epstein's, I guess his computers or hard drives, whatever. So where's the list? Where's the client list? Where's the people that were on the island? And, because, they're out there in the public already. There's a vague list, no one knows exactly who partook and when and all the certain things happen. But, I got to put a disclaimer out here. Wired is a little bit more left leaning. They're more on the left hand side of things in terms of news media. I'll try to find a right wing source if I can, but how do I say this? I'll try to find a more right leaning video talking about Epstein. Hopefully I can find one. Is that way we could keep it balanced. Like I said, you're in the middle with Malcolm, so I try to keep it fair and honest. But yeah, sometimes, because I've noticed on the right hand side on the right, you got Andrew Tate saying that just the brokies are concerned about this, and like this is about keeping the oligarchs and stuff like that happy. Listen, people, I don't care what country you live in. When rich people can abuse children freely without consequence, you need to get out of that country. You need to get out of that country. And we need, especially in America, as a democratic republic, however you want to call it, or a democracy, we need to hold our elected officials accountable. So, hey, I'm still saying it's cover up. There's definitely, they got a lot of evidence on Epstein. They got people's names. They know who was partaking in what. Like, this isn't the first time the government has lied. If you don't believe me, look up MK Ultra, um, look up the LSD experiments. I think Project Operation Midnight Climax or Artichoke. Yeah, there's multiple. Operation Artichoke, Operation Midnight Climax, um, the Quid Pro. Not I was about to say Quid Pro something, but COINTEL Pro or Co, when they literally infiltrated most, if not all, of the civil rights groups during the 70s and 60s and the civil rights era, like the CIA, FBI, like the government has done some shady stuff. Again, look up MK Ultra, look up Operation Midnight Climax, Operation Artichoke. Um, there's some other stuff too, and there's already many conspiracy theories out there about MLK, JFK, like, and there's been like, yeah, I think a few years. It's probably like been 2 decades, but I think like 2 decades ago, Martin Luther King's family sued the U.S. government, and they actually won. They sued the U.S. government, claiming there was some type of involvement, or like the government was aware and somehow aware of what was going to happen. I don't know how that directly. Let me I try to pull up these comments. Oh, thanks, David. Shout out to my homie David Esposito. He gave me a like on the video. Appreciate it. Try to share the video if you can. If you like what I'm saying, share the video to someone. We're gonna keep rocking. But what was I? What was I? Yeah, the government has lied multiple times. You don't have to be a diehard conspiracy theorist to know this. Yeah, the 9/11 conspiracies, MK Ultra, the Tuskegee experiments, and like I said, the COINTELPRO, Operation Midnight Climax. Um, and I think Joe Rogan's done a lot of this too. He's had a lot of like ex CIA, ex reporters, ex um, well, I wouldn't say ex whistleblowers, but like I think he's had like one or two CIA or FBI whistleblowers on his show, and they literally tell you like at multiple times and points throughout history, the CIA has destroyed records and files. The FBI has destroyed records and files. Um, so yeah, the government has always been shady, and some of the things they do, you always have to question. So, yes, keep an eye out for the JFK and MLK reports, because if they try to say that nothing really happened or it's all just one big cover up. But yeah, let's get into this video.
Fired investigation that uncovered the data of almost 200 mobile phones belonging to visitors to his infamous pedophile island. The data was so precise, we were able to map the paths of these visitors to within centimeters, including their neighborhoods, buildings of origin, and the paths they took to get.
All right, y'all see that? Now, you mean to tell me the government don't have this info? Come on, let's be honest. They were able to track the paths of multiple visitors based off cellular information. I'm just saying, They ain't the government, but they were able to track some shit. You mean to tell me the government don't have this info? They don't know who was on the island and who flew to where and whose cell phones were pinging and coming up when certain things were going down. Like, come on. Let's continue.
Get to the island. These digital trails document the numerous trips of wealthy and influential individuals seemingly undeterred by Epstein's status as a convicted sex offender. Wired's analysis of the data is ongoing, and it raises profound questions about privacy and surveillance. This is Epstein Island's secret data on the grid. This is Little St. James.
Let's pause this for a second. Also, a link to this video will be in the description too. Yeah, now that I remember, he did get busted before. He did get busted in the past for, his sexual proclivities. And from what I heard, he got like a sweet deal because he was allegedly intelligence, US or Israeli. Because I think Ghislaine, the Maxwell lady, her dad is linked to Israeli intelligence. And, when you start digging into Epstein's background and all that stuff, it gets real sketchy, real questionable. And there's a lot of holes.
AKA Epstein Island. These red dots on the map represent some of the 11,279 coordinates I obtained. They were left exposed online by a location data broker with ties to the Defense Department called Near Intelligence. Between 2016 and Epstein's final arrest in 2019, Near collected data on more than 200 cell phones that visited the island. We don't know why they did that or which client or prospective client of Near decided to query the data in this way to produce the maps. But the maps you'll see in this video show where visitors to Epstein Island spent most of their time. Let's take a step back. You might be wondering, where is Epstein Island anyways? Well, it's here. Little St. James is a private island that is part of the US Virgin Islands, an unincorporated territory.
You see, and they got to be doing it in the Caribbean. Yes, I'm American, I'm born here, but I got family from the Caribbean. Like, I got family in Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas and stuff like that. Like, why? Why can't y'all do that stuff here? Well, I know why y'all can't do that stuff. Oh, I know why you can't do it here, but why y'all got to do it in the Caribbean? Like, Jesus.
Of the United States in the Caribbean Sea. Epstein purchased Little St. James in 1998 for $7.95 million. It's about 71 acres, the size of 54 football fields. He made the island his primary residence and soon after began welcoming visitors and throwing infamous parties where he was accused of having groomed, sexually assaulted, and trafficked untold numbers of women and girls. The maps of the data collected by Near, and which we at Wired recreated here, indicate the most visited spots on the island. From the main house here with the pool, to the beaches and the large sundial, it's all on display, including the enigmatic Hilltop Temple site over here, which has been the focal point in speculations about Epstein's mysterious activities on the island. But the tracking of phones wasn't contained to Little St. James. Surveillance continued long after the visitors left. The data reveals the locations of visitors 30 minutes before and after arriving on the island, which shows us the exact routes everyone took to get there. Some landed here, at the Cyril E. King Airport on neighboring St. Thomas Island. With its private jet and VIP terminals, it was the go-to hub for Epstein's 200-seater Boeing 727 plane dubbed Lolita.
Oh, wow. There was a lot to unpack there. First of all, they got houses on Hutchinson Island for like 10, 20 million. This man bought a private island for, I think he was at 7.9, 8.9 million. Just, man, inflation. Perfect example, inflation. See how much it costs to buy a private island now. I'll wait. Yes. Somebody comment down in the comment section the price of a private island in 2025. If it's 7.9 million, I'm gonna start saving my money. I'm definitely gonna start saving my money. And also, just random trivia here, or just random facts. The phrase Lolita, well, the name Lolita comes from a book based on, well, basically the book is about an older man falls in love with a younger girl. She's still like underage. And I forget, I think it's either a Russian, German, or French guy that writes it. I forget. But ill, just ill. I don't, and it got dubbed the Lolita Express because allegedly this is the plane he was flying girls across, to and from the island, and apparently there were other people on the plane. Yeah, the government know about these flight logs. They know. The government know. Don't let them lie to you. Ooh, shout out to Diana. Appreciate the like. If you like the video, make sure you share it with somebody. Appreciate the love, guys. But yeah, let's get back to the video.
Express. We see data points clustered at various area beaches, hotels, and luxury resorts, including the Ritz-Carlton Hotel here. To get to Epstein's Island, many visitors got on a boat at a designated dock at the American Yacht Harbor, a private marina on St. Thomas co-owned by Epstein at the time. From there, we see a flow of movement.
Co-owned by Epstein. How much y'all want to bet their records are incomplete? How much do y'all want to bet there are some records that are either not there, they're missing, they're incomplete, And what's funny, this is, again, Wired is a left-leaning media outlet. If your guys are like staunch Republicans or, oh, if it ain't right, it ain't right. Them types, like, you got to listen. Go to Anthony Brian Logan. I think there's the Black Conservative or Black Republican. Go to one of them guys and, see how they feel about, this type of stuff. Like, these people, and he didn't keep his source secret. He told you this. I got this info from NIR. It's a data broker. They work for the Department of, I think he said Defense or Homeland Security. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit under the influence. I've been smoking. I'm on this red cup. I'm sipping on this Bahama Mama. Shout out to the Bahamas, by the way. It was 2 days ago. It was Independence Day. Shout out to the Bahamas. I'm sipping this Bahama Mama. But yeah, back to the video.
Through Great St. James Island, the larger island just to the north, which Epstein purchased in 2016 for $22 million. He had hoped.
Whoa. So wait. Okay, I know in like 1999, they said he bought one island. Now he's buying another island. So he got Great St. James and Little St. James. Okay.
To develop it, but was met with legal challenges after damaging the island's coral reefs and protected habitats. The data then traces visitors' movements as they are ferried to Epstein's private dock on Little St. James. Epstein also had a helipad on the island and owned at least one helicopter, a Sikorsky S-76, which he used often to transport himself, guests, and victims from the airport or elsewhere, according to legal documents and testimony.
Sorry, I wanted to get that last part out. Where legal documents and testimony. Come on, man. They got legal documents and testimony over this stuff. But the government want us to believe, there's no client list. We don't have a list of people who are, listen. The government know what know what went down. They got the videos. They watched them videos. They watched some videos. They know who was in them videos. But yeah, like, you see, just there's no reason to lie to us, but they do it anyway. They really expect us to sit here and believe that we ain't got no significant evidence to present to y'all. There's no list of names. We don't have no other, we ain't got no other criminal evidence to pursue against. No, they got some videos. They got something. Are they going to tell us? Probably not. But hey, like I said, and it's in the title of the video, the government is lying again.
It's worth noting that the data reveals a regular flow of traffic to and from Little St. James between 2016 and 2019. A lot of people were visiting the island even after Epstein had pleaded guilty in 2008 and served jail time for procuring a minor for prostitution. If we keep following the data trail and we widen our view, we'll see that the tracking of visitors continues once they have left the island and presumably gone back home.
He just dropped a bomb right there. You heard him, right? Even after he got convicted the first time, that's when he got the sweet deal. Even after that, people were still, they still showing up. They still fucking with him. Excuse my language. Well, I don't care about the monetization. I know YouTube probably done demonetized me. Well, I've never been monetized, so I'm probably just off that. Shout out to Malcolm, the other Malcolm, Feather, said Feather, a fellow Cobra alumni of Central High School. Shout out to Malcolm. Appreciate you for liking the video. Anybody else watching it, you like what you hear, go ahead, like the video and share it. But back to the video.
The near intelligence data we uncovered pinpoints 166 locations throughout the United States and 80 cities across 26 states. Topping the list were Florida, Massachusetts, Texas, Michigan, and New York. The data
Can I go back? Okay.
It's Texas, Michigan, and New York.
All right, bam. Okay. I'm sorry, my logo is kind of blocking the top right up over here. But Massachusetts, Michigan, New York, Florida, and Texas. Again, they got all this info from a data broker. And I'll say this, that's just scary. So if you got, honestly, I'm probably going to look into it because I hate the sponsor reads and YouTube videos when I'm watching them. But now I think, what is it, Oracle or Aura? Yeah, I'm definitely getting it. I need to get, if I have any data being shared around with data brokers, I need to get that stuff off the dark web and off the internet in general. Because ain't no way. And then think about it. Because if they have all these little red dots here, they can zoom in and get a more, like he was just saying, they can get general neighborhoods and general addresses just from zooming in on some of these pinged areas. Crazy.
The data points are labeled as common evening locations or common daytime locations, typically their homes or work. Many of the visitors were likely wealthy, as indicated by coordinates pointing to gated communities in Michigan, as well as homes in Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket in Massachusetts.
Okay, for those of you who don't know what Martha's Vineyard or Nantucket is, basically imagine the wealthiest neighborhoods on the upper East Coast. These are some of the, most well-off places in the world. Well, I won't say world, but some of the well-off places on the East Coast. If you live in Martha's Vineyard, your pockets are right. Your pockets are righteous. Let's continue.
Even have data points from a downtown Miami nightclub, and also the sidewalk across the street from Trump Tower in New York City. Before you jump to conclusions,
see what I mean? They ping to across the street from the Trump Tower, but the feds want us to believe, oh, we ain't got no real info. It's just downloaded corn, man. And this is why I say today, it don't matter if you are a Democrat or a Republican. If you work in the government, you just, and actually I had a cousin say this because, she got asked about, going into politics, and she straight up said, no, because at some point I will have to tell a lie, because there are just some things the government will not and cannot tell us. And even on the they cannot tell us part, I question that so hard. Like, I get it, top secret classified intelligence. Yeah, I can kind of see like that not being common knowledge, but it's like whenever they like look at some of the FBI and CIA files that they declassify over the years. When you read some of these files, they got so much stuff that, and I'm not talking about all of them, but there's a good number of them. Like there's so many like blacked out pieces of info, or they're just incomplete sections of information, like, and we have to just take their word for it on stuff. And like I said earlier in the video, the CIA, FBI have destroyed files, like straight up just destroyed records and files. The CIA did it, the FBI did it at least once or twice. And then the entire history of these organizations, they have altered or destroyed files altogether. And back to the video.
some sources have highlighted.
Okay. I wasn't going to say it, but this is the Ghislaine Maxwell lady, this Epstein, I guess they got to show Trump in there. And I know this is probably like the early 2000s, late 90s, but somebody get this lady a sandwich. Like that whole sucked in, strong, like I can see your cheekbones look. Like, no. Like, somebody get this lady a nice 12 or 8-ounce steak, with some mashed potatoes and the broccoli with the cheese, because anybody that knows me, like, nah, I ain't finna eat no broccoli. I need a mountain of cheese. Let me go ahead.
highlighted interactions between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein at social events. But after Epstein's 2008 conviction, there are no verified reports of Trump maintaining a relationship with a convicted pedophile. Take a look at this point over here in New Mexico. This is a property that was owned by Epstein, a secluded 8,000-acre ranch. Another property of Epstein's is seen over here on El Brio Way in Palm Beach, Florida. This waterfront mansion was sold, demolished, and is now being rebuilt. But it was where prosecutors claimed Epstein trafficked numerous underage girls with the intention of molesting and abusing them. But we don't just see the coordinates of wealthy homes.
Prosecutors. Everyday prosecutors could put. I'm gonna stop because I'm getting triggered. But you see that our prosecutors were able to put the pieces together. And you mean to tell me that they ain't got no intel on this location, on these locations, and who were there, whose cell phones ping, and because it's like the mafia said, stay off the phone. And if you look at a lot of those mafia cases, they get so much info off these cell phones. A great TV show that I like to watch, The Wire, they literally stress that that's how they get like the first three seasons of The Wire. I think even the fourth season, but I know the first three seasons because they focus like real heavily on the drug trade and all that stuff. But they really get a lot of intel off of these phones, not just your texting, not just your text and your call history, but your locations as well. Because so long as your phone is on, so long as your phone is connected to some cellular network or whatever, it's getting pinged off a cellular tower, one way or the other. Let's continue.
Amongst the data, the median household income of Palm Beach is more than twice that of nearby communities where we also see data points. Some of these points could represent victims or employees who worked on the island, which is why we're careful about revealing names and continue to carefully analyze the data. If we zoom out more, we notice something strange. There are no data points anywhere in Europe. Does this mean it was strictly Americans visiting Jeffrey Epstein on his island? No. We do see data points from the cache identifying origin cities in Australia, the Cayman Islands, and way over here in Kyiv in Ukraine. We know that Epstein himself had a place in Paris. And we know from victim testimony and flight logs that his associate, Jean-Luc Brunel, owner of a modeling agency in Paris, did visit the island. So why don't we see these data points? One possibility could be Europe's extensive privacy laws. Considered the strongest privacy and security law in the world, the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, gives Europeans robust rights to their personal data, even outside of Europe. Under comparatively lax US privacy laws,
Europe 2, America still 0. And why do you say that, Malcolm? Because they get a 1, they up us on the score in terms of food. They ain't got all this high fructose corn syrup. They ain't got this red number 20, red 40. They ain't got none of these dyes that our kids are coming out to be more and more allergic to. That like anyone that's raised kids or had nieces, nephews, infants and stuff. You ever realize why they tell you to dilute any red colored drinks and stuff like that? Because of the dyes, because of the ingredients. Like in Europe, they don't have as many. They don't have all that high fructose corn syrup. They don't have all the preservatives. They don't have all the dyes and the food and stuff. So yeah, generally the food in Europe is a little bit healthier. Like even the McDonald's is different. And I give him a 2 up on, what he was just saying about the privacy laws. Like they can't even get data brokers over there to reveal anything. right, let's get back to it.
Near Intelligence was able to source its location data for this precision surveillance. To explain how this data might have been collected in the first place, we need to talk about the world of digital advertising and data brokers. The reason you get a targeted ad displayed on an app or a website is because apps on your phone have been transmitting information about you to ad exchanges and real-time bidding platforms. That information often includes your location data. Data brokers like Near Intelligence extract, repackage, analyze, and sell the data from these ad platforms. In fact, according to internal company documents from 2019, Near Intelligence, which has roots in Singapore and Bengaluru, India, claimed to have information on around 1.6 billion people in 44 countries. They offer a platform for searching that allows their clients to query their vast data set. By drawing a box around a specific area like Little St. James, Near then provides insights about the devices it observed within the selected area. We don't know who or why someone searched Epstein Island, but the reports and maps they created were sitting unprotected and totally searchable as publicly accessible code. And that's where we found them. And those aren't the only Near Intelligence data sets that we found. Google's web crawlers were able to locate at least 2 other reports, one geofencing the Westfield Mall in the Netherlands, and another targeting a park in El Paso, Texas. This is data unrelated to our investigation about Epstein Island, but it shows how unsafe personal data can be. In some cases, it's just a Google search away. So pro tip, if you don't want your personal data swimming around in the murky waters of programmatic advertising, make sure you limit ad tracking on your phone, disable location services and third-party cookies, and use an ad blocker. Services and third-party cookies, and use.
Okay. I'm gonna pause that, leave that up on the screen. Limit your ad tracking, disable location services, and use an ad blocker, people. Oh. Yeah.
An ad blocker. So what happened to the island after Epstein reportedly committed suicide in a Manhattan federal jail while awaiting trial for sex trafficking? Well, in May of 2023, billionaire investor Stephen Dieckhoff purchased both Little St. James and Great St. James for $60 million.
Inflation. Mind y'all, he purchased Little St. James in like 1999, 2000 for like 7.5, 8.5 million. He bought Greater St. James for around 20 something million. So he's about 30 million in, and the island sold for 60. Oh, man. Inflation. He ain't made no profit off of it, or I guess whoever was the owner of the estate or power of attorney, what blah blah blah. But just like that, and shoot, I was gonna say 1990, 2000, but he bought Greater St. James in like 2016. So it's like, now, if it was 2026, I'd be able to I'll round off anyway. So I'll say in the span of 2 decades, he doubled his money from 1999. I'll round up to 2000, from the year 2000 to 2025. If he would have still been alive, and had he chosen to just sleep with women his age, or at least legal age, he would have made 30 million just in, well, I wouldn't say he would have made, because I can't say he would have sold. If I had a private island, I don't know if I would have sold it, but just in the equity on his both islands, he would have been up 30 million in the span of 2 decades. That's 2 decades. like 2 million a year. Yeah, roughly 2 million a year in positive equity increase.
He's currently building a luxury resort on Little St. James that he says could open as early as 2025. Also, Ghislaine Maxwell, former British socialite and Epstein accomplice, was convicted in 2021 on 5 counts, including sex trafficking of minors by force. Maxwell was arrested in Bradford, New Hampshire, tracked to $1 million home by federal agents using location data pulled from her cell phone.
Bro, see? All right, I'm stop. I've been going at it for an hour now. Thank you for this. I'm on this Rain energy drink. I needed something to pick me up after that Bahama Mama. I've been drinking today. I had like 2 cups. I'm really a 1-cup guy. But anyway, y'all heard the man. They were able to track and find her based off herself. So, like, hey, I'm not saying the government is lying. But you mean to tell me, y'all seriously are going to tell me that they don't know who, you know, that's the government, people. They're going to sit there and tell us, like, let me see if there's MLK conspiracies. All right, let me see if I go ahead and share my screen. Now, I'm just using the AI overview. And no, before anyone jumps on here talking about Malcolm, the AI is the devil. Listen, I'm not the most tech savvy person, but it saves me time from having to go through like 3 different other. It saves me time from having to go to like 3 different other, media outlets and shuffle through articles and read stuff real fast when I don't want to read. It's a lot. It saves me time. I appreciate AI for making things a little bit more streamlined. Anybody out there still saying, "Oh, it's Skynet and the devil and all that," like, go touch some grass, bud. That's all I can tell you. Go touch some grass. But yeah. I gotta clean my bong out tomorrow anyway. It's been a week since I filled it up with water. I try to clean my bongs out at least once a week. But yeah, let's go on to it. The assassination of Martin Luther King remains a subject of ongoing debate and various conspiracy theories, despite official investigations concluding that James Earl Ray was the lone assassin. Okay, conspiracy number 1. Ray was framed by a mysterious figure. Ray, James Earl Ray, initially pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty, later recanted and maintained his innocence, claiming he was set up by a man named Raoul. Ray claimed Raoul directed him to buy the rifle, and rent the room across from the Lorraine Motel. Multiple investigations have found no credible evidence that Raoul existed. The government agencies were involved in a conspiracy. The King family and others expressed skepticism about the official story, considering the FBI's history of monitoring and I skipped. The King family and others had expressed skepticism about the official story, especially considering the FBI's history of monitoring and harassing King. That is true. It is now known history that Martin Luther King had a little bit of a sketchy past, especially when he was married. Allegedly, he did have an affair. The FBI pretty much said they were going to leak the affair out to his wife, and I guess they tried to get him to commit suicide or whatever. I'm not familiar with all the details of that story, but yeah, they did harass King a lot. One theory suggests the FBI, CIA, or military intelligence orchestrated or facilitated King's assassination. Boom, here's what I was just talking about. A civil lawsuit filed by the King family in 1999 resulted in a jury verdict finding that Lloyd Jowers, a Memphis bar owner, and others, including government agencies, were involved in a conspiracy to kill King. The King family said his verdict vindicated their belief in a conspiracy. However, the U.S. Justice Department investigated these claims in 2000 and found no evidence to support the theory of government involvement or that Joyer's claims were credible. Yeah, I think they reversed the decision later, but mainly what they were claiming is there was no evidence. When you question government agents, they don't always when you question government agents due to vows and certain codes of ethics and vow of secrecy, they won't just tell you everything. There are certain things they're going to keep from you. The assassination was planned by a larger group. The House Select Committee on Assassinations investigated King's death in the late 1970s. We have a House Select Committee on Assassinations. The way they concluded, the way Ray fired the fatal shot, there was a likelihood of conspiracy involving others, possibly Ray's brother and white supremacist groups. However, the HSCA found no evidence of government involvement in a conspiracy. Yeah. Let me get out of here. Well, oh man, that's went a whole hour. That's pretty good. Well, anyway, guys, that's it for the video. And yeah, going forward, we really need to hold the rest of Trump and his committee accountable for what's going on. there's my security cameras going off, fucking chickens and cats going at it. I swear. I mean, I enjoy having my security cameras for, the added peace of mind and help keep an eye on, my property. But dude, I get like 30 to 20 videos of just cats walking around my yard playing with stuff. Like shit. That's the sound of the police outside. Somebody getting pulled over. But all right, guys, I'm out. Thanks for tuning in with me. And okay, there. I lost my screen just froze for a sec. I couldn't even. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in with me. Peace.